Greetings and welcome to my dear Capricorn. This is Ron from Tarot of the Twin Sun. Tarot of the Twin Sun is a functional division within the Order of the Twin Sun. Please take only what you will. This is a reading for the energy of the 10th house, Saturnian placements as well, anything that has to do with the crystallization of realities that is tied to the 10th house, okay? We're talking about karma, we're talking about reality coming to life as the inner world of the 4th house projects into the 10th house. What happens is an externalization process. We have the other, we have the misunderstood, the most misunderstood of all earth signs, I would say. Hence, there is the direct association with the devil card that is tied to the 10th house, as well tied to the energy of Capricorn and Saturn, okay? Now, it gets a bad rep, but in actuality, the energy of Saturn and the auspice of Saturn is directly related to what we can feel in terms of the sense of gravity, I would call it. Okay, it's one of the bigger planets. It's one of the teacher planets in terms of lessons we learn throughout the sort of expression of time. Things get old, and as they get old, they become valuable. Okay. This is something of a paradox that we see in Western culture. As people get older, they are seen as less valuable or less contributable to society in terms of productivity. However, Saturn is exalted in Libra, okay? Meaning that the more you do in terms of service, or the more you do for another person, and the less you work or try to force upon the impressions or the sort of the effect of results, okay, in terms of what's expected, especially of us in society, to be normal behavioring, you know, people with normal behaviors. It's ironic, it's paradoxical, because in actuality, the more you grace into things, the more you perhaps think about things, and the more you oscillate between different relationships or different circumstances that are tied to karma or tied to the essence of reality in terms of relationships external to you, okay? The more you are exalted in the auspices of Saturn, okay? So that is one of the secrets esoterically. Now, at the same time, the axis of the 10 and 4, what gets activated in terms of you pulling in other people, okay? What Saturn does is it pulls in the moon's energy, and it is aspected by Mercury and understood through a relationship with Mercury and the sun. So the coming to light brings the inner world of the moon to wax, okay? And for realization to occur. And these people are looking for realization in some sort of way. And not only that, they relay that into the immediate world. So their own sort of quest for liberation, or quest for some sort of inner knowing, some sort of understanding through the process of motherhood, or through the process of self-development, you know, in terms of their own expectations, how their space is not to be fucked with, in a way. That culminates in the lesson of this axis. Now, mother and father as seen through this axis through the 4 and 10, and also the cardinal energy of water and earth, okay? From this comes the mystery of the minutiae, or perhaps the relationship of the terrestrial in terms of its relation to water, okay? And therein we find more secrets within this axis, and we're not going to go too deeply into this. It'll take too long. So let's go on and move to the reading. Welcome, by the way, welcome. This is Ron from Tarot of the Twin Sun. Tarot of the Twin Sun is a functional division within the Order of the Twin Sun, and within this order, there's a certain practice, at least through cartomancy, through tarot, in which we observe karmas and influences as cards show relations. Okay, it's never just one card that we pull. And it's in the sort of synastry or the composite nature of both cards that we find some sort of realization. Okay, it's in between the lines, in between the cards, that we find some sort of nexus or some sort of message. So we're going to be focusing on that, primarily focusing first on a reading in karma, with the bicycle deck, this one in particular, and then we're moving into an incident within that karma for the month of March. This is all for March 2023. And then when we look into the Great Mirror, and that is the Great Mirror is the big part of this reading, and it will show through a 9-card spread essentially relationships, a relationship that exists between Capricorn, the energy of Saturn, and a significant other. Okay, usually it's the moon or some sort of significant other in terms of that. Now, the way they see you through the axis of the 4 and 10 is actually someone who's here to affect some higher knowledge through exploration, okay, through oscillation around a sense of home on the outside. Okay, this is how they see you. They see you as someone who is sort of fronting or perhaps being grounded in some externalized vehicle. Okay, of exploration, it's actually here. You're here to seek out truth in a way. That's how they see you, but also to produce some sort of goal. Okay, so there's a strong determination, a light of determination that is philosophically derived, and you physically encapsulate this as another person, as strictly another person. They see you as completely parallel to them. Okay, they see you as someone who's parallel to them, but never truly with them. So let's go on now. By the way, also the way they see you is through the lens not only of Saturn, but of Jupiter, as well as Uranus, a bit of Uranus, as well as a bit more Saturn. So there's a double Saturn thing here, wherein there's like double constriction on your explorations, on your philosophy. So they see you as somewhat rigid. But let's go on. So the month of, okay, interesting. There's going to be a lot of retrospect here. You're going through a period wherein there's a glorification of the dream. Okay. Now, with this this motion, this idea, what is ultimately sort of missing is something to fulfill the completeness of that dream, that intensity. Okay. So you're going to be polarized. A lot of your tastes, a lot of your likes, dislikes will be extremely polarized. This might be a sort of everyday thing, but within the realm of March, I see this strong polarization, and this has to do with essentially you making a choice, okay? And this choice is against your volition. It's against your will, but it has to be done. And it's something that you might regret, considering that an offer is being made in the month, in the month as well. This offer is not exactly accepted. It's as if you reject someone, and then from that there's a sequence of feeling, and it polarizes to a certain degree. Okay, so you might like this person, you might equally dislike them. Okay. There's a fine line between love and hate, they say, and there's a possibility of truly exploring this idea, okay, of love through hate or hate through love. Excuse me. So, what I do see here is a strong polarization, and from it, okay, this intensity is very scorpionic in nature, by the way. There's clarity. You make a choice, and the choice is regrettably not yours, and it has to do with turning down something, turning down someone, perhaps, or something about it wherein wherein the nature of love and hate, or the energy that lies behind that potential of love, let's say, it seems almost arbitrary. It's random, okay? Meaning that all that energy is essentially suspense, in suspense for the month of March. And then it sort of festers in such a way that it might cause a cycle of regret. Now, in the near future as well as the near past, you've had to prevent the past from coming in to your domain. You are essentially the jack of all trades. There's something about you that is learning through the past, learning through especially this idea of intensity, okay, of polarization, learning to discern one cup from another, learning to discern which is the right cup for you, kind of like Goldilocks with the bowls of porridge. And within this, there's an ability for you to not only make sure that your land, your title, your estate, your wealth is your own, but also in terms of an intellectual mind, that your thoughts are your own, that also your ability to to separate yourself from the past, especially any past, is going to be clearly defined, okay? The border is set, okay? And perhaps it has cut something out, but it's allowing you to essentially bring forward a sense of purity, a sense of strength and determination in terms of your own vision, okay? This is as if you've had many choices in terms of different dreams or different goals, okay? And all these goals seem arbitrary in nature in terms of your own authority towards them. You are taking the authority. But the difference is from finding complete harmony with your universe, with the people around you, with your sense in humanity, your existential or ontological place within any sort of structural idea of society, of finding love, for example. It differs. There's something here about the Three of Cups that is very strongly suggested, okay? Meaning that you could be encountering people, okay, that are here to learn from you through your intensities, especially through any form of regret, or perhaps any form of falling out with others. And these friends are here to sort of help you with the past, okay? These agents. Now, I do see here a polarization of willpower, okay? One is more masculine, one is more feminine. Now, the interesting thing is that the key word here is manifesting, essentially any sort of reality or vision. The vision is here. The vision is essentially it's a creative force, and it's being reinforced for the month of March. And there's an ability to see and to bring forward synchronicities, as well as friends or versions of yourself that need to learn from this experience, whatever this experience is. Now, we're going to look more into the sort of hidden aspect of this incident, okay? Because this karma will play out, okay? This karma of essentially like feeling like you may have made the wrong choice, or perhaps the choice wasn't yours, but it was made anyways, okay, when it comes to a certain situation or an incident. Now, we're going to look into that real quick, and hopefully I can elucidate a bit more on this. Yeah, when I see a lot of court cards like this, and a division between suits, with a lot of fire here, I'm seeing the ability to make a choice. One is more passive, and the other is a little bit more clear-cut. I think you're going to find a sense of definition in the near future. This needs to be shuffled about 7 times, so hopefully I can get it right. Okay. Okay. The difference is, okay, so it's the Ace of Swords crossing the Eight of Swords. Okay, so something about this incident, it has to do with appearances, okay? It has to do with the right passage of things, the right way of doing things. Also being a leader in some sort of way. Perhaps in the month of March, there is a karma. Okay, this doesn't have to be completely true for any of you. But there's a form of expectation when it comes to how you appear. Okay, there's a rite of passage. There's something about you looking good, or perhaps others observing you for what you're doing. Now, the nature of this is the three crosses the three crosses the three. There is a fortuitous event in which Jupiter will merge worlds together, merge islands together, bridge the gap, okay? When this happens, there's a collision of worlds, okay? And essentially what I'm seeing here is a culmination of two different realities coming into be, okay? And from this, there is a sense of right doing, right passage, a recognition of some sort. You're going to be recognized for your efforts. The thing is that because this karma of polarization is occurring, okay, of you learning from essentially a sequence of events that are almost irreversible, okay, that seem to come to a point of complete realization in terms of your polar likes and dislikes, your intensities, okay, your vision of what has been trying to come to this reality, come to, you know, to being. You're there already, okay, but as you're there, there's something about a sense of disorder, or perhaps two places, okay? A world in which you are able to birth and be extremely fertile in something, and then the other world is essentially a bit more chaotic. It's one that moves you, it's one that also inspires a sense of order, but then in that order there's a disorder. What I'm seeing here is a culmination of a sense of fertility, but it comes at a place that is not exactly welcome, okay? So ultimately, the difference is in the past, when it comes to this incident, the difference is the Ace of Swords, okay, from the 10 to the 9. And there is a sense here of a sort of numbing fear, or fear of numbing, when it comes to some sort of past design, when it comes to your psychology, when it comes to truth, at any cost, okay? Now, the thing is that you might switch swords, or something about truth being able to bend in a certain way, or perhaps there's something about a realization that has come to mind, okay, that has influenced you to walk this rite of passage, to walk this path, okay, wherein there's a sense that worlds are, you know, two different worlds are colliding, two different realities are merging into one timeline, and as you do this, you, the Knight of Rods, okay, can contribute to this incident, to this way of looking good, okay? So I see here quite a bit of laurels and accolades, you being recognized in some sort of way. This is a path of recognition, but it's something that you didn't choose, and it has to do also with the idea of letting go of anything that is bullshit when it comes to your connections with others, relationships that are false, okay? A sense of regret from that, but then also marching forward, okay? Becoming not only idealistic, but living according to a certain standard in which people will recognize you for that. And ultimately, what emerges is your ability to contribute to this event, okay? To be really focused on it, and to use your idealism to bring forward this 7 of Rods, okay? Now, this is going to be interesting because you're going to be having to defend your position. You may actually reinforce what you're doing, and it might be that your ideology, your sense of inspiration, your sense of self-starting or self-generation will reinforce what is going on, okay? So that's the best I can do in terms of the incident. Yeah, there you go, double confirmation. The Ace of Rods, the Ace of Wands is here, and that is the advice to go by your passions. Okay, to be reflexive, not to be reactive. No, be responsible, but then also there's an element of reactivity. Okay, so the ability to bring the torch. Okay, as you do this, okay, like I said, the 7 is going to be very important, and it sort of reflects the 7 that's going on here with the cup sequence in the reverse. So I would call that in the reverse, could be also upright, but essentially there is a sense of confusion for that path you've been walking, and as you do this, your future self, when it comes to this incident, will see it as the sense that perhaps there is a mob, or perhaps there's a crowd that is watching you, and perhaps you don't like this. There's a need to put up walls, okay, or like to protect yourself in some sort of way in terms of your own progress, okay, when it comes to this incident. But I do see this happening, and I think it's a very auspicious thing. Now let's move on to the Great Mirror. How are we doing with time? Let's see. Yeah. Before we do that, I want a bit more clarity on this particular card. Okay. Okay. So I think that any expectations you have will fall short of what is truly being gifted to you. And perhaps you have to go through Neptune and Uranus, okay? You have to go through the chaos and the dream, the chaos of the dream, the irreversibility of time, okay, where you can't go back in time, and some things happen. If there's a sequence here where you feel like there is no joy in the dream, in which you are confused, or perhaps there's something about relationships or potential loves or potential creative, sort of impulses that you are trying to explore in the month of March, there's an ability for you to have clear sight. A lot of it is retroactive in nature. Okay, a lot of it, meaning that you're going to be dwelling on the past in this sequence of events, and there's an ability for you to see the potential to whittle down, if you will, the purity that you seek. If you're seeking for love or some sort of form of creativity or purity in terms of what you can receive through the dream, through the universe, there's the possibilities are being sort of reified. They're coming down into clarity, into it's like a whittling down effect. Okay, so you have to be patient with that. Be careful, because what you are inspired to find in this month, I would say it's going to come to you. The idea is to be responsible about it, instead of responsive and responsible, as opposed to reactive or reactionary when it comes to the things that are coming in. The thing is that it's going to be very intense, and I think you're going to have particular likes, okay, and dislikes, and anything that is from the past. I think you will be able to find strength through a new vision of truth, okay, strength through a new vision of truth, okay. Now, we're going into the last segment of this reading in particular. It's known as the Great Mirror. The Great Mirror is a 9-card spread devised by the Order of the Twin Sun to see particular karmas that exist between a significant other and the energy of Capricorn. Usually, in this particular reading, it will be a relation to Saturn and the Moon, okay, which is not traditionally a very solid relationship, I would call it. The Moon and Saturn do get on well in the fact of the ability to affect the earth in terms of gravity, okay, in terms of also the movement of things, okay, the movement of earth. So essentially, what happens is that there's an element of fertility that occurs, wherein the earth is fertilized by the water and that is provided through the tidal motions of the moon. Okay, so there's a moving element to it. Okay, so the way this person sees you is someone who's willing to offer a bit of their time, their effort, their energy, their resources in a certain way, okay? This is a very particular way of doing things, though. There's something about you that is innocent. At the same time, it's a small offering, okay? On a conscious level, I think you may reflect this in a certain way. It's interesting because they're drawn to create some sort of balance with you. You see this person possibly as someone who can be useful, but they're slow, and there's something about them that is ruled by Venus when it comes to the earthly design of like a place that would be hospitable, okay? A place that would feel comfortable. And they're drawn to you, to meet you, and it's interesting because they are also being pulled to go somewhere else. Now, in terms of a deeper understanding of this connection, what becomes apparent is a reflection of the Five of Cups we saw earlier, combined with the Two of Cups, the Seven of Cups. There could be something about this connection that speaks about disparity, okay? Not to say that this is a desperate, time or anything like that, where there's a feeling of lack or anything like that. I think this type of relationship is tied directly to the things we can have or get by ending something, okay? What I see here is that there are two people here that want to unite on the same on different polarities of the same thing. Okay, different sides of the same coin. Let's call it that. And within this, there is a sense of imbalance, a need to essentially come up with a way to carry the weight, to carry the sort of weight while balancing out two different things, okay? A lot of Mercury goes into this connection, especially on a conscious level. And when this occurs, when Mercury is trying to balance out something in terms of Virgo's energy, okay? There is a need to essentially come to a center point, to a crisis, or perhaps to a place wherein that crisis of a meeting of two different minds, okay? It contributes to a sense of the Two of Pentacles, okay? The Page holds a pentacle, the Knight of Pentacles holds the pentacle. They come together, and there are two pentacles. And from this, there is a sense of harmony, there is a sense of balance, but it's only found through crisis. And it seems to me that there is a burden here in doing this, because it's hard to do that as two different people, okay? To balance that out as two different people whose offer sort of tit for tat is worth more, is more valuable. The idea here is also something to realize, is that the way in which something is carried out can be different from person to person, but I see here a great deal of similarities in terms of this offer, in terms of the potential to see each other. It will be very interesting how that pans out. Now, let's see here. So there is a sense of order that comes from this. You provide a sense of order from this, and the interesting thing is that both of you are coming out of the Five of Pentacles as well as the Five of Cups in the reverse, and you're meeting together. So in a sense, there's a lot of equality here. There's a sense here that you don't have to act, but whatever they do in terms of their actions, it becomes apparent that they're moving towards the Six of Cups or the Four of Cups. Okay. Now the difference between the Six of Cups and the Four of Cups on their side, on a deeper level, is that they are caught in the Five of Cups in reverse. So what I'm seeing here is essentially a still point in which they're here on a deeper, more profound level to get out of a cycle of regret or a cycle of remorse. Okay. To unite. There's always this sort of somehow they're drawn to you in order to unite something. And this is the mother of all invention, you know, in terms of the difference between the Four of Cups and the Six of Cups. It has to do essentially of making the jump from a stalemate energy, from doing nothing to doing something of innocence, to doing something out of purity, to get over a cycle of regretfulness. Okay. And essentially they bring this to you. The thing is that also this strikes me as an extremely karmic relationship in which two different commitments, two different ways of committing to each other, okay, in terms of responsibility, in terms of energy or effort, or, you know, some sort of value of commodity, you know, in terms of the golden round, combining the two to make a balance, to find the crisis point, the nexus point between them, okay, in the Two of Pentacles. It requires a great deal. The difficulty is that Mercury is somewhat of a fast planet, and it oscillates around the sun quite rapidly. So there already is this sort of feeling of combustion, okay, this feeling of getting burned that is making its way into the reading. So there's a heaviness, there's also a deep pain that needs to be addressed. This has to do with a lack mentality on both sides, okay? Meaning that it feels as if, you know, by knowing this person, there's like a bit of shared melancholy, a conscious need to unite, to bring two halves together to make a whole, okay, to find balance in terms of that. But then as soon as you sort of cut a pentacle in half, there's something in that that is impossible, that the idea of doing that is impossible, because a unit of measure when it comes to the golden round, when it comes to the sun, when it comes to a pentacle, when it comes to a seed, as soon as you cut that in half, it loses its power, its value, okay? It becomes worthless. It's like having a dollar bill or like some sort of paper currency. As soon as you tear it in half, it becomes worthless. Both of the pieces become worthless. Okay, so take as you will what you will from that. There is something here that is occurring between you two in terms of manifestation, okay? One has to do with the bringing of joy. The other has to do with addressing what has been lost, okay? What has been lost and found, okay? That's the sort of thing that you have for this person. It feels like you found something that they've lost, okay? And you're trying to return it to them. So there is an element of what I would call, it's kind of like resuscitation, or bringing back what is lost to what is going to be found. This is all pushing forward to the Seven of Swords in the reverse, okay, that the mirror is showing me, Okay, this has to do with retracing steps, going back, a chasing element here, trying to find where this person has been, what they've done, and then they're being drawn to you in some sort of way. The thing is that there's something about this that has to do with something that is missing from your sense of home, your sense of responsibility to your own structure. And what you may be offering may be too much to afford, okay? It might be also a bit disorderly. You need to find a way to essentially figure out what your true calling is in terms of karma, and how to address a feeling of lack or a feeling of being cast out, okay? And essentially to be found again, to be welcomed again in that sense of home or in that sense of stability, okay? Now, you might find it through them. The interesting thing is that you would require the 6 of rods that we found earlier. You would require the action or the right action towards what you can call seeing or looking good. I see here a lot of path work, okay? Because the 5 of Pentacles, it implies a path, okay? In which 2 people are on some sort of lonely, frozen, sort of environment, and they're cast out from society. They're seen as lepers, or as beggars, or people who are on a different path from some sort of sense of home, okay? So there's this loneliness that I feel from it. At the same time, there's the ability to walk on the right path. You just don't know if this is the right path or not. The difference here would be the difference of the 6 and the 10 of rods, okay? From that sequence, we have the 4 of rods, okay? Now, this has to do with essentially finding a sense of harmony with another person. To be honest, I think you can find it here with this person. The thing is that it's going to be a bed of nails, and it's also going to be a heavy burden. There's something about the mirror or the appearance of this person that might seem a bit frightening at first, or perhaps there is a lasting impression of some sort of tense terseness or tension, fear. Perhaps a fear of the wrong path, fear of the path that is not yours but theirs. And it's important to know that this person does intend to give you something in terms of friendship, at the very least, or a sense of joy. Now, if they contribute to you, they will bring a sense of balance. Yes, you can work on some sort of balance, but then it's going to require a lot of work, to be honest, to make this work. There also is something about the opposite of Aquarius, Leo's energy here. It's hidden. And the ability to essentially find a way to, it would be the difference between the 7 and the 10. To address, oh man. It would be the 3 of Swords, to address each other's pain and to go through that together somehow, to find a sense of balance in that all, to give each other the time of day to address that. Okay, so I am seeing a lot of karmic signatures in this relationship, but these karmas are near its completion, and there's going to be a sense of birth, of innocence, and also of really digging into what can be seen through Leo's energy, okay, which is the ability to find strength, the ability to conquer the darker aspects of the self, and also the ability to find what has been missing in terms of true sincerity, and also to find what has been missing in terms of a very lonely path, okay, that you may have been treading for some time. There also is a possibility here of I think they're very content with what or who they are. Let's see. Okay, so the 2 of Cups in reverse does show up here. 2 of Cups in reverse does show up here. I think ultimately you're dealing with someone here that reflects your reflection, in terms of the ability to understand some of the deeper aspects of, it would be the Nine of Cups in reverse, of making the choice because it makes sense, okay? Of making the choice because it makes sense. And we saw this already in the earlier karmic reading, in terms of a choice that is there, that is against your volition, that is against your will, but you're doing it anyways. And it seems to me that if you give this the time of day, there will be the end of a cycle, of a way of thinking and a way of feeling that will allow for the purity of mind that you may be seeking. There could be an escapist element, because I see here it would be the Six of Swords. To bury the sword of truth, it would require some sort of meeting with someone, exploring how to balance out different things in terms of the sword sequence, but also of the pentacles, okay, and trying to weigh out and to balance out with this person some effective karma that may be cyclical in nature, that may have occurred in the past, it's going to occur in the future unless you handle this. So there is an opportunity here. And the best way to approach this is to notice the nature of the Ten of Cups in reverse here, and also to arrive at some point of understanding, okay? This has to do with the Nine of Cups in reverse, a point of understanding here, to be truly sincere with your efforts. Now, if you find that this is a relationship just like any other that you've encountered in the past, where there's, you know, there are certain conditions that need to be met, there are certain things that have to be clear in terms of primarily the Nine of Cups in reverse. There has to be a certain sense of clarity into treating, I would say, into treating in a form of unconditional love, in a form of unconditionality to all those around you, to treating essentially this relationship as just another one of those instances, essentially, to clear out that karma, to make sure it's fine, you know. And if you find that balance, there's an ability for, once again, the fifth house to be activated, some form of romance, some sort of camaraderie. The four of rods did show up earlier here. So this could be a situation or a relationship in which their passage, their path, it would resemble something that you're doing. And the question is whether or not that truly is your path. But I think that you will find a sense of order in sort of taking the authority, being real, being sincere, and also being fair and egalitarian with this person, okay? The idea is to address that and to also move towards your own sense of self when it comes to the realization of any of the trappings of Saturn. Now, if you're truly in some sort of tension with this person, the passage of time will cure all. The passage of time will cure all, okay? And if not, like, there's something about this person in terms of a cycle, or in terms of a repetition, in terms of an archetype about this person that you will be able to perceive. And anything that you are doing now in terms of a small offer to them, a gesture of goodwill, it will have an effect on them. Okay, it will have an effect on them. So perhaps that's something to think about. I think I'm done for this reading. I do wish you well, my dear Capricorn. Thank you. Bye-bye.